Hello, and thank you for joining me here for Game 3, which has Echo Fox looking to take down the LCS champion in Team Liquid. I'm Clayton Captain Flowers Reigns, casting alongside the only color caster to waive all rights of Skarner analysis. Over to yours truly, it's Isaac Azael Cummings Bentley.
It's all you, buddy.
I love some Skarner. We'll see if we get some of them here on the Rift today, but now we're going to jump right into the starting rosters here of this next game. Selecting blue side, it's Echo Fox with Solo in the top lane, Rush in the jungle, Yusui at mid, Lost bottom lane, supported by Hakuo with coaches Song and Tyler.
Yep, and challenging them on the red side today, it's going to be Team Liquid. In the top lane, Impact. In the jungle, Smithy. In mid lane, Jensen. Bot and support going to be Doublelift and Core JJ with coaches Kane and Dodo.
Now, expectations were tempered for the reigning champions coming into week 1, but even with minimal practice coming back from their run at MSI, Team Liquid came out swinging.
Yeah, they looked really, really good. They kept those lessons that they had learned at MSI, and TSM was not playing a fast-paced game. They were playing 2 losing lanes, Azir and Ezreal, and they essentially allowed TL to do whatever they wanted. That allowed TL to just run them over. You can't have them in that comfort zone. And Doublelift has been very vocal about wanting other teams to step up, to play aggressive, to challenge them, and to raise the overall level of the region. So we'll see if anyone's going to be able to do that against them.
Well, we'll see if his opponent in Lost can deliver on those high expectations, because for this newcomer here, this guy who stepped up to the LCS stage, he's going through one of the hottest trials by fire you can imagine.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, going up against Doublelift is going to be very, very tough. Core JJ as well, the MVP. I do think Lost performed well individually yesterday, but the game was not about him. It was about the solo laners. And, you know, Yusui was getting focused very heavily in this game yesterday, and he's had to go up against Froggen yesterday, and then Jensen, Bjergsen, Niski as his first 4 mid laners. That is a brutal schedule for this guy. And we also need to look at Rush, who promised a lot of aggression to come out. I did not deliver on it. He was playing the Rek'Sai, was playing a very passive early game, and when Rush is at his best, it's when he's being proactive on the map. You can't allow Smithy to kind of be in his comfort zone and sitting back.
Well, we've only seen one game out of every team so far, so it's not like anything set in stone just yet. Echo Fox was a team that we got to see bounce back pretty incredibly towards the end of last split, and I know that they've always got some tricks up their sleeve. Remember, this is one of the 3 teams in spring that did manage to take a regular season game off of Team Liquid. It was Echo Fox once, FlyQuest once, TSM twice. So we know this squad can do it. We'll see if they can replicate that here again today, as bans will be Flex Pick targeted by the side of Echo Fox, Ryze, Irelia, Aatrox all banned away. Liquid gets rid of Jace and Taric and the Yuumi.
And I'm going to be really excited to just kind of track the growth, really, of Yusui and Lost, right? They have some very tough opponents in these early weeks, and being able to see if you can kind of find that game over game, week over week growth from these new players to this stage is going to be very important for the Echo Fox squad.
Well, as we saw those first couple of, flex solo picks get banned away, the next ones are going to be locked in. It's Echo Fox going for the Sylas here very early over on the side of Team Liquid. They'll lock in the Akali for themselves, as well as grabbing the Xayah there in the bottom lane for Doublelift.
And we've seen Xayah paired up with Nautilus yesterday. Obviously, Rakan still on the table here. You can take that away, but generally, I don't think it's recommended. Xayah functions better independently of the Rakan than I think Rakan does of the Xayah. So, they are just going to go, it looks like, for the Kai'Sa Galio, a lane that we saw a ton of throughout all of MSI, has gained a lot of popularity, really scales well into the later stages of the game, and you already have one diver in the Sylas who wants to be going forward, who wants to be getting involved in these fights, and certainly Galio will be there to follow things up.
And Kai'Sa is pretty good at following up herself, because this is a champion. Remember, as long as the plasma is applied, she's able to have the killer instinct, make the dash in there, but Xayah will be complemented with Rakan for Team Liquid.
Yeah, and there's multiple forms of CC already, not only the Justice Punch, but the taunt, the chains as well. Every time one of your teammates is applying one of those CCs, you get an additional stack of plasma, which is ramping up your damage that much faster, getting you to that passive proc. But they will be going up against Doublelift and Core JJ, playing a strong laning duo here with that Xayah Rakan. And it will be interesting to see if TL are kind of willing to flex this Akali around. It has been mostly Jensen that was playing this throughout MSI. When it did come out, it was going to the mid lane, so I think Echo Fox is likely going to be expecting that. We saw some Akali from Impact in spring, but it's certainly not been one of his go-tos.
At the same time, I've got to give Impact credit, because as a player who was known mostly for tanks, who spent some time with carry performances in spring, starting off, those weren't as impressive, of course, as people would have liked them to be, because they were like, oh, we should see Impact back on tanks. Impact's a tank player. Put Impact on tanks. At MSI, he did a wonderful job playing carry champions, and even in Liquid's rougher games, he seemed to be the shining star in that darkness there for this team. So if they do put him on a Kali, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, not at all. And I mean, that was up against Wonder and Shy and all these incredible top laners that people thought he was going to be getting beat by. And it wasn't even just at MSI. Through their entire playoff run, he played exclusively carries. Through play-ins, he played exclusively carries. MSI exclusively carries. So certainly, Impact, I think, reestablishing himself as a big carry threat up in that top lane. And, teams are going to have to give respect over to that.
Well, the second half of the bans are completed now, as Rumble, Olaf, Jarvan, and Camille are all going to be removed. Some focus on the jungle there, as well as looking a little bit towards those solo lanes. We did see Camille played against the Pyke earlier. We also have seen Rumble in the mid lane, but it looks like Team Liquid are going to default to a pretty staple jungler in the current iteration of League of Legends in grabbing the Rek'Sai there for its mid.
Yeah, Rek'Sai, really strong early jungler, certainly does have a lot of dueling potential. Even in the kind of mid-game fights, I do think that you are very, very powerful. Ooh. GP Skarner, though, so back-to-back days of Skarner here for Flowers is going to get locked in. And, this is something that you talked about yesterday, but it's very powerful, not just in kind of diving forward, looking for those picks, but also in actually grabbing and locking down some of these champions that will be diving into your own team, such as the Rek'Sai, such as the Akali. These are champions that are going to be fairly squishy, generally building essentially pure damage, so you do have to take into consideration now, not only can Galio taunt remove you from your Shroud as that Akali, you can then be ulted up by the Skarner, so that does make it much more difficult to navigate these sorts of fights.
At the same time, remember also, it was yesterday in the game against Golden Guardians that Rush was on the other side of the Skarner versus Rek'Sai matchup, on the losing side of it, and it feels miserable as the Rek'Sai if you do not get ahead early. You don't get to do much in the team fights, those longer extended skirmishes, you're not as effective because you're just a bruiser that's behind the curve of the game. Skarner always has the utility in the ultimate. We'll see if Echo Fox can find those picks and make this choice work. You can see the team's got plenty of damage to back it up if they can get that pick set up.
Yeah, they definitely do. And on the side of TL, they are going for that lane counter pick, of the Vladimir into GP. This is a pick that can bully out GP, that can be extremely difficult post 6. You are even able to be threatening, actually, 1v1 turret dives onto the GP. Can be a really, really tough matchup for him. So look to Smithy, especially in those later stages, to be going up to the top lane, trying to threaten dives onto this Gangplank and really keep him down.
I mean, these are probably two of the single highest damage output champions in the game that you could play in top lane. Gangplank versus Vladimir, incredibly volatile, incredibly explosive. If one of these guys gets off on the good foot and the other guy's just sort of stumbling around, the team fights will quickly wash the other way, and it turns into a real nightmare scenario for the guy that is behind. And for Echo Fox, they have taken down Team Liquid in the past. I already mentioned that from Spring, but I would be lying if I did not say it was an uphill battle against the reigning champs.
Yeah, definitely the case. One of the things I really have my eyes on here, though, is going to be Smithy. Can he be effective in those early minutes of the game? Because I don't think that there's a lot of easy lanes to really gank. There's not a tremendous amount of gank assist. Yes, Vladimir can try to set up for dives, and you can utilize, especially post 6, Pool as well as Rek'Sai ult to reset turret aggro. But, in the early levels, there's no hard CC in either of your solo lanes. So it does become very difficult to actually lock down these guys unless they're really over pushed in their lanes.
Right.
Galio also can be a pretty tough champion to actually kind of take down and lock down. So we'll see what he wants to do, if it's going to be more about kind of tracking the Skarner and counter jungling and waiting for some more levels to kind of be under their belt. But I don't see a lot of easy places for him to go and kind of pull off ganks.
Yeah, when you look at that top lane that I talked about being so volatile, neither of the champions really have a lot of gank setup, and they both have a lot of good gank avoidance in the pool and in the removed scurvy. So unless somebody really overplays their hand, goes way too far forward, making a play up there will be tricky for either side.
Yeah, and really for Solo, it's about surviving, right? He's kind of playing the other side of the matchup that we normally see Impact on. He's so well known for the GP, for surviving lane, for utilizing that ultimate to go down to the bottom lane and really playing a focus style down there. I think this draft is very well set up for Echo Fox to look for that sort of play here too, because you have Galio for that setup. If Skarner comes in post 6, taunt flash, Skarner ultimate, GP ultimate layered on top, that is a tremendous amount of threat towards the TL bot lane. So things are going to be kind of flipped on their head, so to speak, from what they're normally playing in this type of matchup.
And as we see both the junglers starting off here, it's going to be a red into Krug start for both. The crab changes on the patch post MSI means that the junglers do want to get that jungle EXP going as quickly as possible, because they want to make sure that that camp that gives so much more EXP than most of the other ones is respawning, is constantly going to be on cooldown, so they can keep farming that one up and stay even with the curve of the game as Rush heads into his own top side of the jungle.
And I think one of the big important things to note about it is it also kind of reduced the importance of level 2 power from your junglers.
Yeah.
You know, it had been so much about you need CC to remove, you know, the bonus resistances from that Scuttle Crab. You need to be able to duel the opposing jungler, you know, at that Scuttle Crab as well. Now it spawns so much later, so you can essentially just power farm through on a champion like Skarner and avoid those early fights.
And you can see a bit of a difference in the jungle pathing here. Rush not going for his chicken camp like Xmithy did. Rush chose to start with the Hunter's Machete instead of the Talisman. If you don't start the Talisman, the chicken actually hurts Skarner really badly because it's difficult to maintain enough health for those angry little chickens to not rip you apart. So Xmithy will move into the enemy jungle here. He'll see that chicken camp up, and there should be a little bit of extra money in his pocket.
Yeah, going to be able to grab this away. Once you finish this, the bottom scuttle should be spawning, so pretty well timed out route. You know, was even potentially looking for a gank on mid lane, but Yusui was playing to the top side of the map, playing to where his jungler was, so that wasn't really available. And now Smithy going to look to put on a little bit of pressure.
Yusui doing a good job ducking out to the side there. Because Rush controls the Spire, that means they could make sure the 2v2 happens in the Skarner Spire, so it would have gone their way most likely. Rush picks up that top side Scuttle Crab, gets himself level 4.
I mean, this is a small thing, but this is something that you can take into your game, certainly as a mid laner. Always play to the side of the map that your jungler is on, right? You know, you can cheat to that side of the map, and this is threatening the potential of a counter gank. This is threatening, you know, an easy escape path, or even that 2v2 or 3v2 could be there if your top laner's roaming down. So, you know, just that small bit of positioning from Yusui has been keeping him safe from this pressure that Smithy wants to put on.
And at the same time, the bot laners recognized, hey, Xmithy showed up mid lane and then walked back out the bottom half of the lane. That means that TL's bottom lane feels pretty comfortable pushing up the way that they are.
Rush.
But Rush is coming bot side. He's got the Predator ready to go. Doublelift trying to get himself away. Already having popped the flash. Still looking to walk out of this one. Stun coming down. Doublelift going to be in some trouble. Xmithy makes his way into the lane. Down through. It's going to be TP channeled. Hawkwo is going to be brought down very low. He's first blooded. And Rush is going to go with him. It's a 2-0 for TL.
Yeah, and that is huge. Echo Fox committed both of their TPs from the solo laners down here to this bottom lane, and they get nothing from it. Jensen still holding on to the TP. He didn't even have to join. So Yusui is going to be fairly behind off of this. The kill going to Vladimir, also very, very big. Not only is Smithy put ahead of his opposing jungler, Vladimir gets an early advantage. So this is just really well done from the TL squad. You can see Doublelift playing as far away from Skarner as possible. Early flashes to avoid any potential taunt flash from Hawkwo, which you can see is then missed because of that added distance. The knock-up as well from CoreJJ came through before the Skarner stun could be procced, which bought so much time for them to create this space for Smithy to arrive or Impact to TP in. And that was just a perfectly handled 2v3 that bought time for their teammates to come down and get those kills.
And as you already said, and I think it needs to be highlighted again, it's not just what you saw happen in terms of the outcome of the fight, it's the consequences in burning the teleports for nothing for Echo Fox. That's an incredibly long cooldown. It means a lot in terms of the pacing and control of your individual lanes, and now it's not available for either one.
Exactly, and if your game plan was to play to that bottom side, next play you make there, you have to say, well, Jensen could TP down and turn that around. We have nothing to join, right? It makes it so you really can't go for those sorts of plays, and now Solo could be in trouble.
Solo knocked up into the air, still has flash available here, having to pop that one to get himself away. Smithy doing a good job there, burning the remaining summoner spell from the Echo Fox top side.
Yeah, that is really big, because now you have Vladimir approaching level 6. Once you hit that level 6 mark, there is the potential for a dive on a GP, and especially if Smithy is around. So Solo is going to have to play it very, very carefully from this point forward, and that is why you see Rush making his way up to the top side of the map, trying to be ready to defend his gangplank, because when the wave is getting stacked, you cannot afford to have the GP die.
No, absolutely not, especially not in a matchup like this where neither one of these guys will bring much to the table if they are knocked super behind the pace of their opponent. Solo will continue farming up here in this top side. Level 6 not quite available there on the GP. Remember, that's going to be a big one across Summoner's Rift once it comes online. Both junglers are heading towards Rush's red buff as it spawns for the second time here. And Jensen into 1v1. Yasui getting the better of him here for now as Xmithy shows up, tunneling back into mid lane, looking to grab the knock-up, not going to get it there. Yasui gets himself away, first part to perfect execution, keeping him safe, not too worried.
Yeah, nicely played by Yasui to escape there, just utilizing that ultimate. But again, a good bit of pressure coming through from Xmithy. He has been so efficient with his jungle pathing, moving from camp to lane non-stop. You know, burning the flash top, coming mid, forcing out the Akali ultimate from Yasui there means that now you cannot actually look for any sort of potential 1v1 against Jensen, because Jensen still has his Akali ultimate available, and Sylas has nothing. So there's no way you win that 1v1 now. And these small moves from Xmithy really are giving a lot of freedom to his laners to really try to play aggressively and look to dominate.
Now, Rush currently has Predator off of cooldown. He also has level 6. He's got the Skarner ultimate available. This is where you should be looking for hunting down those kills. You can see him trying to wait just beyond vision here of Jensen in the mid lane. Jensen goes in with a perfect execution. Rush shows up. Jensen trying to stay in the smoke, get himself away safely. Rush will not be able to make a play. Jensen just walks around a little bit there. Ends up getting the free summoner spell out of Yasui as well as the Predator from Rush and gets himself away.
Yep, uses his ultimate, but he gets a flash and he gets that time spent from Rush. And honestly, really intelligent for him to not reveal from the Shroud whatsoever.
Yeah.
If you do pop out of that Shroud to try to get the kill, you're going to get ultimate up by Rush. You're going to get pulled under the turret. You're going to get taken down. So doesn't greed out. Xmithy now dueling up against Rush here.
Xmithy versus Rush. It's a pretty rough fight for the Skarner, even on your Spire, because Rek'Sai is so strong, because you get to do this, but Rush manages to get the kill because of the burn on the red.
It also looked like the Skarner ultimate actually interrupted the cast on Rek'Sai's ultimate. He was going into that dive initially, got interrupted, then takes so much damage before he can get it off that he burns down and goes down. So really well played there by Rush, getting the best of Xmithy, and that is an important one to win. You need to get something out of that ultimate, especially when your team is behind, and we're going to get to watch this one more time. So both junglers having eyes on each other, you know, looking to fight over this. Xmithy does win it. But this is fighting on the Skarner Spire. He has so much additional attack speed, and that is really the biggest thing here. And it looked like he was trying to actually cast that animation, did get interrupted, then tries to go through, but he's already too low and does get burned down by that red buff.
The red buff ticked just in time, because if Xmithy would have come out of there, the burst would have been enough to kill Rush off as well. So very well done there by the side of Echo Fox. Also, just want to go ahead and drop the number on that one. 70% attack speed from Skarner at level 6 on the Spire. Huge difference in fighting him there and not there. So just enough for Rush to be able to win that fight.
I mean, Akerchi's start is 15% attack speed, right? To put it into perspective, that is like an absurd amount of effective
whole inventory
gold that you're actually getting. You're just stacking up. You're holding daggers left and right. You got something between your toes. Like, he's definitely attacking very quickly. And we actually had it confirmed by ProView that it was, you know, interrupting that ult animation from Xmithy. So that was such a close timing. He got knocked out of that. Otherwise, he likely would have taken Rush down.
It might have been the dive animation into the ground
Exactly,
from Rek'Sai
that's what
as
it was.
well. Like, I mean, to just burrow himself and then get the knock up. Because I don't know if Skarner's actually able to interrupt the Rek'Sai ulti when she starts to dig. I'm not sure if that's one of those unstoppable animations or not. But either way, being able to interrupt what his opponent was trying to do was critical for Rush to find that success there. He'll now grab that Scuttle Crab in the top part of the river, and we'll see if he tries to make any more moves happen just yet. Does have Flash, does have ulti, does have Predator. That's about the scariest the Skarner can be at this point, but he's just going to look to farm up Shelly with nobody else nearby from TL.
And thankfully for Solo, nothing has happened to him during this kind of time where his Flash was down. Flash is coming back up. You know, Jensen was never able to make anything happen with his TP. It was just used to get back to lane. So the solos of Echo Fox have their TPs back. You do have the ability to try to turn things around, but that's a very defensive GP ult just used to try to potentially stop a dive that could have come in.
Speaking of dives, though, Mr. Azael, we've got Jensen coming down here. He looks like he's got his scuba gear on. He's ready to go. Jumps back in, has himself that shuriken to make sure he gets on top of the Echo Fox members. Xmithy going forward, looking to find himself a knock-up. On to Lost he goes, and Jensen cashes in $300 in the pocket of the TL mid laner, and it looks like plates are on the menu too.
Yeah, I think they could likely get first turret here. That turret was so incredibly low. Can probably just straight up knock this down. Looks like they're going to try to just even donate it perhaps over to Doublelift. And that is a really big deal. That is your early GP ultimate getting spent defensively, and they just waited it out because it wasn't used on the aggressive play. So TL will say, okay, great, you cleared out the wave, but there's still 4 of us here and only 2 of your members around. Echo Fox, though, will trade back.
I do really like this. Echo Fox sees the chance. They're like, okay, we got to use Shelly here. Best possible time to do it. Get the plays, get the turret, get something in return. Don't just bleed out that bottom structure for free, so they at least strike back there. But what we were talking about with these two newcomers to the LCS stage in Yusui and Lost having to go up against experienced top-tier veterans in Jensen and Doublelift, it's being shown so far.
Yeah, and I mean, I've got to highlight these two bottom laners. You know, check out those inventories. Look at the CS differential. Look at the gold differential between these two guys. That is absolutely enormous right now. 1,400 gold separating, you know, the two ADs here at only 12 minutes into the game is a massive difference, and that has resulted in early Essence Reaver plus the tier 2 boots. So Doublelift now at such a strong point is just going to swap up top. They're going to try to continue to utilize this pressure to really snowball the game.
And this goes into a conversation that we were having yesterday in a game with the Skarner when it was Echo Fox going up against the Golden Guardians. Look at the inventory of Core JJ. QSS, first built here by this Rakan after getting done with the support item in the mobility boots, shows me that Core JJ is going to be the guy who goes in, he stops Rush from initiating on the rest of Team Liquid. If Rush pulls him, no big deal, pop the QSS, get out of it, and it makes life much more difficult for the Echo Fox initiator.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a great buy, you know, not only against this Skarner, but also the Galio, who can really shut down a lot of your playmaking. You need that mobility to be able to charm up multiple people with the ultimate, to be running in and out, to be, you know, most of the survivability from Rakan is actually diving in and out of the fights, utilizing your E, you know, utilizing the speed from your ultimate. And if you do get locked down, you can get burst out so quickly. So, you know, the ability to buy that since they're so far ahead.
Oh, up in the air goes Yusui, and the damage is down. The flash is too late, and Smithy will make sure they get that one for the side of TL. They'll grab themselves a couple of extra plates before the turret plating falls. It's going to be two almost picked up. There's that second one coming in right before the clock would hit 14, and that's more money for the side of Team Liquid.
Yeah, and it's another great play from TL. Their bottom lane is very far ahead, so you simply group Core JJ over with Smithy. They make a 3-man play on mid, take that down. Meanwhile, Impact already has the wave here down at the turret, so that is being bled out, and they're even trying to threaten at the blue buff. They're really pressuring on all sides, but now Yusui get a TP in. Looks like Echo Fox wants to make a play around this blue, but TL had already disengaged, so they get nothing.
Yeah, TL's gone. I mean, if you're Echo Fox, you get to protect your blue buff. At least you can get that onto your Sylas. He'll have enough wave clear to try to hold the turrets. But speaking of holding turrets, you can look at bottom side. Impact is now sitting comfortably in this Vladimir versus Gangplank matchup. You're level 10 on the Vlad. That means you've hit that 5 ranks in queue breakpoint of just never really being worried about dying anymore. He'll continue scaling up, and he'll be a real threat if he's able to dive into this backline of Lost and just blow him up in the fights.
He definitely will. You know, the amp damage as well for Zaya, who's super fed. You know, Jensen's very strong. That is very relevant here too, but I have to give some credit to Solo. You know, Impact was the one who picked up a kill on that bot lane TP, you know, is in that kind of counter matchup where you certainly do have the ability to really get ahead if your opponent messes up. And Solo's up farm. He's doing quite well for himself.
Yep.
You know, he is kind of the bright spot, I think, right now of the team. The one who is going to be closest, if not even perhaps ahead, thanks to the extra GP gold. But things are definitely looking grim for Echo Foxes. This is TL in their comfort zone.
Yeah.
Massive bot lane lead, moving around the map, taking extra objectives. They're so adept at actually snowballing these types of games.
4,000 gold up, 15 minutes in is quite the hill to climb. Jensen, Doublelift, and Core JJ all looking to make a move here in the mid lane onto Yusui. Core JJ not quite going to grab him with the quickness, but there they go. They get in the range anyway. Galio makes his entrance. Hawkroll looking to block off these guys from making a further dive happen. Solo also making his way into the fight now. Jensen's backing himself away as Yusui still somehow kept alive. Impact not quite going to find the kill there with the Tides of Blood, and a very nice job from Echo Fox getting their man out alive.
Yeah, they're able to get him out alive. They forced the flash off of both Impact and Jensen. Actually, 4 flashes. Doublelift and Core JJ used theirs as well, so that is a really big deal with this Dragon coming up, and Rush still has flash ultimate, so Echo Fox may want to try to make a play around here. TL would have to delay if they want to try to challenge for this Dragon because they are missing Jensen, and they do not have a lot of those flashes, so they're just going to make the call to give this one up.
Yep, they're saying it's not worth it. It's an ocean. Laning phase is already over. It's not going to inconvenience us that much. Not worth risking our lead over right now, but if you're Echo Fox, you are real happy to have that. That at least shows that you're still in this game, and you can still shut down this Team Liquid war machine.
You certainly can, but playmaking gets harder and harder. You know, you already mentioned 1 QSS. There's already 3 available now for the side of TL. Because they are so far ahead, they can do this without being behind on damage.
Bottom side, it's Xmithy and Impact looking to make a play here. Xmithy in some trouble, but there you go. That's the QSS. This is the problem being Skarner when you're this far behind as a team. They're still able to pick one up. That is 1-0 for the side of Echo Fox. Jensen and Impact looking to make a move here, but they won't be able to find anyone in retaliation. Good job there on the pick from Echo Fox.
And that's twice that Xmithy has died during his ult animation. That was very likely the GP passive, that burn actually taking him down in it, and it's got to be a bit frustrating. That might have given them the ability to trade one back. You can also see Jensen with that Null Magic Mantle. That very likely could be a QSS as well.
Yeah,
there's going to be so few targets here for Rush, so he has to make the most of it, and he has to rely then on CC chains, right? You know, you have your ultimate QSS. If that happens, then you can get the stun out of it. You have the Galio taunt, or you try to force the QSS on one of your stuns or the Galio taunt, then you ult. But it becomes very much about layering the CC instead of just the initial pick.
Yeah, the QSS life on everybody in the enemy team is really rough. When your Skarner doesn't exactly feel too good to play into, you are completely dependent on Galio going in there saying, all right, Galio, your job is to get rid of those nasty belts, then I'll take care of the rest. But it is a difficult situation. You can see Rush not going for the Righteous Glory immediately after the Cinderhulk that you often see on Skarner, so he will not have that extra playmaking ability. Instead, going for that Aegis of the Legion to give himself a little bit of extra defensive capability on top of the health he's already piling on. Doesn't want to blow up as soon as he runs into the fight.
Yeah, and I mean, you're going to be more playing that utility role at this point of the game, right? And one of the really big benefits, I would say, is, as they're probably going to have to call this one off, is the fact that Solo and Lost are going to be purely, or vast majority of physical damage. The QSS, the magic resist there, is not going to be really helping against either of those guys. Yeah. You have kind of forced out some less than ideal itemization from some of these TL members, so now you have to rely on Lost and Solo to kind of make good on what you have forced out from the other team.
And this is also a little bit of what we talked about yesterday with Skarner enjoying playing against Assassins. You sit on top of your own backline instead of diving into theirs. You don't need to have the Righteous Glory as much in a situation like this. You can go for an Aegis of the Legion into what I'm assuming now is a Knight's Vow with the Ruby Crystal and Cloth Armor, because your whole job is to sit on top of Lost and make sure he doesn't die to the 3 different people that are going to be diving onto him. It's very easy for you to get a pull. Now, how valuable that'll be against multiple QSSs, that remains to be seen. Yeah. But the itemization, I do understand this time around.
Yep, 4 QSSs now complete. Jensen does buy his up, and I think that's a very effective strategy when you have a strong carry. The problem here is just Lost is so far behind Doublelift. He is 2,500 gold behind Doublelift, so even the fact that Doublelift bought the QSS, he still has more gold being dumped into actual damage.
Yeah.
Despite that.
Still an extra BF stored up over his opponent. Solo's going to be in some trouble now, thrown up into the air, going to be beaten down. Solo gets himself a return kill, though, and that's what Echo Fox needs.
Yeah, Solo playing a hell of a game here. 1v3 gets a return kill there, despite Impact having pick up the matchup, so very well played by him. And that's going to feel good that you can get that much, kind of committed, really, to trying to take down your top laner and have him get that kill back. That is the kind of thing you need to buy time for Lost and Yusui to really catch up.
Lost doing his best to farm up here in the mid lane, even out some of that CS against Doublelift, but he is still down over 50 against his lane opponent. Mid lane about a 20 advantage there for Jensen. Jungle pretty much even, but Solo's up to an almost 30 advantage of his own in the side lane, and it lets him end up making plays like we see here.
Yeah, Solo at a really strong point in the game. Does have his Hex Drinker plus that Triforce, so giving him the ability to really live through a lot of this. Impact diving very deep in onto his opponent, and looks like he just doesn't get the pull off here. Yeah, just gonna actually get smacked down, tanking up that ultimate damage from the GP, really kind of underestimating it, and you can see. What are you doing, bro?
Come on, man. Come on. You're not going to give me any more respect than that. Solo definitely earning some of that respect here in the bottom lane today. Echo Fox has closed that gold gap down to 3K.
Yeah, and Solo's building more for the 1v1 now. Hex Drinker as well as the Executioners, that's going to make it even more difficult for the Vladimir. So, Impact might be in a little bit of trouble in this 1v1. We'll see how that's going to continue to play out, but the more pressure Solo can draw, the better it's going to look for Echo Fox. But TL have the run of the map, so certainly they have to be careful about these collapses coming in on their gangplank.
Team Liquid pretty confident in just moving over now and taking out this Drake on their own. Smithy will walk up, make sure that they've got the smite nearby so nobody cheekily steals it away. J will help end up throwing a little bit more damage onto that one. But remember, we're 22 minutes into the game now. Baron is an option. It will become more and more so as we march forward. Team Liquid does have a very high damage composition, so that could be a reality here very soon, as the reality of his imminent death could quickly be dawning on Impact as he has to get the hell out of town.
Yeah, I mean, he's starting to get smacked around pretty hard in this 1v1, and you can see Rush was down to that bottom side of the map. But TL, you don't have to play around Impact at this point. As long as he can survive in the 1v1, your 4v4 is massively stronger than that of your opponents. So they are going to look to create pressure on the other side of the map. You can see all the vision they are really setting up in this Baron quadrant. This whole area is really all TLs, so they are going to have such a tough time from the side of Echo Fox really pushing forward into that. There's 4 pink wards in the area. They have really no vision whatsoever in that quadrant of the map. It's going to be very, very difficult.
Jensen will just continue shoving these waves in, spamming the minions on cooldown. Yusui going in there, has the perfect execution stolen. Looking to try to find his mark blindly through the smoke. Won't quite be able to get what he's looking for with the chains there. As Team Liquid continues to control this Baron pit, make it so Echo Fox is always scratching their heads, wondering exactly what those members might be up to. They'll move forward a little bit here, try to reclaim some of this territory in the jungle, but every fight is still so scary.
Yeah, it really is. There's a lot of good hard engage through this recon. So certainly if you do overstay your welcome or step a little bit too far forward, you can be in trouble. Solo looking to kind of catch out Impact here.
Solo missing the barrels to start off the fight. Means Impact's got a decent chance to make something happen here. Wants to get the Empowered Transfusion, but it's not quite going to be enough. The Hex Drinker doing a lot of work there for Solo. Hakuo shows up just to make sure things don't go south, and both top laners walk out.
Yeah, but that's really the advantage over to Impact. GP dropping your ultimate in that side lane, certainly takes away even more threat from that 4v4 that Echo Fox have. Plus, you got the Galio ultimate out and survived, so Impact going to be feeling really good about how that one went, but a lot of it was based off that missed barrel from Solo. Had that connected, the fight could have looked a lot different.
Oh, absolutely. Echo Fox will now continue trying to just grasp at whatever little bit of their topside jungle they can. Team Liquid will continue doing the opposite of that objective and making sure they clear out every little bit of Echo Fox warding they can get their hands on. As you can see, Rush has himself the Zeke's Convergence, going for the full support item loadout. Also having those Knight's Vow pieces in the inventory, working towards getting that item completed as well to continue to protect their AD carry. That Kai'Sa is finally on 2 items, so there is some punching power in that for the team fights now. Unfortunately, Doublelift is 2.5 items plus the QSS, making him very scary yet still. So top lane tier 2 will fall. Team Liquid's 4th turret and the first one of that second ring.
And this game really, to me, is becoming kind of the tale of 2 carries. It's who can kind of carry harder. Is it going to be Solo or is it going to be Doublelift? And a fight may be breaking out here.
JJ using his initiation there, but not able to find the mark onto anyone with the knockup. Rush is now rooted, having a flash away, in some trouble. Can't immediately counter-initiate because of the QSS status of the entirety of Team Liquid. Echo Fox now tries to get themselves away. Doublelift is on the attack and not afraid of anything. Jensen goes forward looking to start this fight off. Rush now going to be the one who's jumped on Doublelift, getting himself away, finding those feathers back. But he is shut down by Yusui. Impact looking to pick somebody up off to the side. They're able to take down Rush. But now Impact's likely going to fall here now as well. And Echo Fox has found themselves a fight.
Yeah, TL in a little bit of trouble here. That fight going, looks like 3 for 2 in the favor of Echo Fox. Doublelift trying to start it off himself a little bit going forward, and does just get kind of dogpiled on and knocked down. And with Doublelift off the table, he is where so much of the gold from TL is. Just like that, I mean, the game is really kind of getting closer here. The gold really not that far apart whatsoever at this point in the game. 1,200 separating these 2 teams.
Great play there from Echo Fox. Team Liquid just getting way too antsy. They blow everything from the recon and don't get anything at the start back in the river, and then this happens. Doublelift is so far forward. Yeah, exactly. They're going in, trying to take down Lost, and you have to remember, Lost is not strong at this point in the game. Yes, he is, a critical role in the game. He is that marksman player, but Lost is very weak. He's very far behind, so they're committing all their resources. The ult flash from Jensen, Doublelift running forward, trying to take him down, and that was not the critical member. He survives regardless, and Echo Fox are able to come out on top in that, plus get a turret. So this game getting closer and closer. This GP becoming so strong
at this point.
Echo Fox has got to be feeling really good after that one. That's the kind of thing that puts some wind in your sails, makes you think, okay, it's not just the solo show now. This isn't just hoping Gangplank can 1v9 while everybody else holds on for dear life. The team showed they were able to win in a 5v5. Liquid showed they were impatient. They are capable of making these mistakes, and this is now a situation where if you're Echo Fox, you're saying, we've got a real shot at this. Team Liquid, however, will continue building up these neutral objective advantages. That's 3 Drakes now compared to only 1. And we'll see how far the attention turns towards Baron, with us now cresting that 27-minute mark in the game.
Yeah, I mean, despite the fact that it had to feel like Jensen was kind of bullying around Yusui for a lot of this game, Yusui now has more gold than Jensen. Solo is significantly ahead of Impact. You now have the stronger solo laners. You certainly have a way into this game, and Rush is looking as... Whoa.
Rush after Smithy here. This is what you do on Skarner. If your opponent has QSS, you need to mark them, stun them with the E, make them get impatient and think, oh, surely Skarner only has 1 CC. This is a real thing that happens. Nobody knows what Skarner does. And then you pull them after they waste the QSS.
The advantage of playing a champ that other people don't play.
Unfortunately, Smithy is one of the people who plays it, so he's wise to those tricks and gets himself away anyway. Not too worried about it. Solo now finding some damage onto Impact here. Hawkwo going to be making his way into the fight, and CoreJJ again will not find the initiation he's looking for. Impact is already dead. Smithy going to be taken very low. He goes on a rampage, grabbing the kill onto Hawkwo. Devlin's going to be kept alive into the back line. Lost still looking to grab the damage onto the TL backside yet again, and they're able to find it. Echo Fox will ace Team Liquid.
They just got destroyed. Impact getting knocked down there, CC'd up, couldn't get into the pool. He goes down. They could actually end the game here. They have a minion wave. I think that's it.
This is a victory march potentially for the side of Echo Fox. I already said they were one of the teams that beat Team Liquid in spring. They needed the second round robin to do it. But today, on day number 2 of Summer Split, Echo Fox will take down the LCS champions.
And what a way to do it. Team Liquid out to such a strong early lead, but it's Echo Fox battling back, and so much credit deserved, I think, by Solo. Hanging on in that matchup that can be very, very tough, creating advantages for this team and buying time for the rest of the squad to catch up. And Team Liquid, when it came down to it, they got out team fought.
Solo did a great job keeping things afloat when it looked really sketchy. And this is almost what we were expecting from Liquid coming into the week, saying, yes, this is a team that's probably not as in form as you would expect. There were a lot of mistakes from Team Liquid, specifically CoreJJ's initiations were not there in both of those 2 big critical fights, missed everything with the Recon. Echo Fox did a wonderful job punishing, playing around who they needed to play around, and these rookies, Yusui and Lost, yes, they were not ahead of their veteran counterparts early on in the game, but they were able to keep a cool head, team fight properly, and win as a team. This looks damn good for Echo Fox.
Yeah, definitely a very promising result. Rick Fox, very, very happy about that one.
How could you not be?
Yeah, I mean, taking down the back-to-back-to-back champions is going to feel really, really good. Certainly one to be pleased with for them. But for Team Liquid, certainly, not the cleanest of games. They had a monumental early advantage, and it felt like it was going to be business as usual for them. That is the type of game that you certainly expect. Okay, you have all the leads. You're going to have that one team fight. You're going to win it. You're going to take Baron. The game's going to end. But, they did not have those clean team fights. When it came down to the 5v5s, their target selection wasn't on point. They didn't seem as coordinated or crisp as you are used to seeing. And certainly, that is, as you were saying, a lot of the Team Liquid players have been talking about, we're not at our peak right now because they had taken time off after MSI, and we saw Echo Fox taking full advantage of that. They punished them, and they played great.
Yeah, and Echo Fox, I came into yesterday saying, I wonder if this team can start off their early and mid-split performance in summer better than spring, while still having that same performance towards the end of the split that they did, because then this could look like a real scary team if they're able to have that consistency. Taking down number 1, pretty darn good start to the summer split. But for more on the upset from Echo Fox, Riv is standing by with that rock in the top lane.
Thank you very much. I am joined by Solo after Echo Fox's victory over Team Liquid, and what a game it was. You yourself kind of were saying the calls at the end were, can we end? Yes, we can end. What was that feeling knowing you were about to take down the LCS champions after such a game turnaround?
I mean, it was really good compared to yesterday, where we kind of got blown out. So I'm happy that we're able to like play more like we play in scrims today and play a little bit more loose. And yeah, we just team fought really well and everyone was on the same page. It looked good.
Along with team fighting well, being a little loose, what really changed to make today possible to take down Team Liquid for Echo Fox?
I think it was just getting over like stage nerves. I mean, myself included, but we got like a lot of like, young guys, and just being able to kind of like get through the first game of the season and then just like move on from there, I think helped us a lot.
And talk to me about that. We had Lost on the team last year for a little bit. Now you have Yasui in the mid lane. How does it feel kind of, you know, being a veteran on the team and giving a voice to them, but also working them up to that LCS level?
Yeah, I mean, they're great players. I mean, everyone in the Echo Fox team from Academy to LCS is great, which is why we're able to like play anybody every given week. So it's all just about building each other up and making sure we're just trying to do our best to win.
Well, Solo, you showed it here. Teamwork makes the dream work. Congratulations on the win. Best of luck in the rest of the season. We're going to throw the State Farm analyst desk to break that one down.
I need to know. We'll get there. We will get there. Don't worry, Crumbs. Thank you very much, Riv. Echo Fox taking down our spring split champions in Team Liquid after a game that started in favor of the defending champions there. But before we work our way all the way back to minute one of the game, I do want to relive that final fight. All of Echo Fox, as Solo said, operating on the same page, gelling well, team fighting well. We'll watch it from his point of view.
Well, the problem is it's a Sunday and you're playing Rush. But seriously, this is just such a good job. So many of the engages that Team Liquid had tried in the last 5-10 minutes of the game were completely thwarted. And this was another attempt on the Solo, the only like huge threat on Echo Fox's team, and they don't get him.
And you have to remember that at this point, Team Liquid has 4 QSS's purchased, and Skarner is pulling Vladimir, the one guy that doesn't have it. So that's already 5,600 gold that just was completely wasted for Team Liquid, that they're not getting any value out of it, thinking, oh yeah, we can live up to them in team fights. You can't. You actually sank your gold into something else. That's not how you're going to play at this stage.
Yeah, and here you have it. Solo, player of the game for this one here. An absolutely monstrous performance on that GP we saw.
50% almost.
It's so gross. It's so gross. And we saw even in the itemization, as Zale talked about it, kind of going a little bit more towards that 1v1 side lane build so that he could deal with the Vladimir, who was ahead and threatening with side lane pressure. That bought them a lot of time and space to ultimately claw back into this one.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to cover in this game, but especially the mid game for TL went so poorly. The QSS buys are one of those things where, like, in hindsight, are going to look terrible if this is what happens, but it's so you can win the mid game really hard and neutralize the Skarner. The problem was they flubbed a really critical engage on Yasui, get nothing out of it. They lose the Drake afterwards, all their flashes and ults are down, and then the next 3 skirmishes happen around the GP, who was the only strong member on the team. So, like, Team Liquid fundamentally failed to capitalize on where their leads were with all those QSSs.
Well, let's take a look at how they built those leads, because I think it's important to know where the gold was on TL to understand how they maybe misused that gold.
This was their first gank where Hakuho fails the flash taunt, Team Liquid's double lift and Core JJ get out, and then the counter from McSmithy. But the big deal here is that Fox teleports both solo lanes into the bottom lane and got nothing out of it, which lets Team Liquid get a nice little advantage and then make a return gank to the bottom lane to continue the punishment.
Yeah, all this was kind of classic TL. They storm through their bot lane. They get huge leads there. Top is on an island pretty much going even. And, you know, you think that this game is going to be completely a landslide victory for TL. They're on pretty comfort champions. You know,
and you see there, a comfortable lead for Doublelift coming through 10 minutes in the laning phase. The same thing will be true for Jensen off the back end of that roam to the bot lane to pick up a kill, and the free farm that he got while Yasui was in the bot lane. And so, boom, from this state, yesterday's Team Liquid would have hard smashed, but something didn't fit right today.
Well, it also wasn't against TSM, apparently, because I think Echo Fox did a good job of stabilizing. And to Crumbs' point about the QSS purchases, Jensen gets ahead, throws it into a QSS, and then that doesn't do anything versus Silas in a side lane when you're 1-3-1 and you have 1,200 gold of magic resist.
1,400, I think, actually.
Right, they've changed it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, like, it's just not a useful purchase unless you're winning these 5v5s, which they world champion skin Rakan not finding the engages on Core JJ was super surprising.
I think the
Yeah,
QS.
fun fact,
you get
1,300 gold. Split the difference between the two of you.
Nice.
We combine our brains. For something
Yeah,
like
good
that.
try. Yeah, you guys really balance each other out well here on the analyst desk is what we're learning.
Right. So, okay, it's not that you don't buy QSSs. It's just that when you buy them, you understand that, yes, we have a difference of itemization now, and you probably don't need it on everybody, right? You need it on 1 or 2 people, and then you can keep adding them as the game progresses. So I'm fine with it, just not that many.
Yeah,
quickly.
I think we come away from this being brought down to earth a little bit around the expectations for TL. Again, I mean, most people coming in, TL themselves expected to be slow starters. Yesterday, in actuality, was the surprise, right? Given that expectation. Today fell a little bit more in line with that sluggishness, maybe miscues on how exactly we close out this game, just kind of, skipping a step here or there.
It's one of those things like if Core JJ had played 50 games of Rakan in the last 2 weeks, maybe he lands a couple more of these engages. Who knows?
And yeah, exactly.
But,
and then for the flip side, let's talk about Echo Fox, because I think we need to recognize, what a difference it was from yesterday's play to today, and being able to stick in a game, much like, we lauded Cloud9 for being able to do, being behind a little bit, but sticking with it, staying aggressive, and still finding their ways to get back in.
It's what Solo said, right? They have some nerves from the new players. You get one game to shake it all off, and then you're up against Team Liquid, which we thought, okay, this is going to be a really tough matchup compared to yesterday, but I guess the pressure just, when it goes to be so much more pressure, suddenly you're in a state of, it doesn't matter, we're just going to play our game, and they did that. But most of all, recognizing the opportunities that Team Liquid presented them for them to just continually win fights, because that's what happened a lot of the time. Team Liquid engaged sporadically, and they were able to capitalize on them, which I don't think Team Liquid was expecting that. I think they were expecting, oh yeah, the teams we practiced with in MSI would never do this, or would punish this, but back in the day, they would never do this. And then, oh my God, they learned as well.
Yeah, I think the nerves is a big thing. Just seeing Solo get that trade kill against Vladimir is something where it's like, all right, he's not playing scared. He's fighting out the situation.
A sweet player react, Cam, as well. I love to see that. Well,
confused.
both of these teams will end their first week 1-1. Game 4, though, puts TSM opposite Counter Logic Gaming. If you're a diehard CLG fan hoping for the upset, pick up your team pass today. That way, you can back up your team before the bandwagoners get a chance. Pick up your TSM or CLG team pass, and we'll see you for Game 4 after this.
Pop up first.
Me and Yusui are basically trainees.
Ooh!
Trainees, is that how you say it? We both tried out for C9 at the same time. So I know how he works inside out.
I'm going to TP, Scanner first.
Both miss.
Scanner first.
Do I need to TP? I don't know.
We got it.
Solo's going to be in some trouble now, thrown up into the air, going to be beaten down. Solo gets himself a return kill, though.
I'm on Rexa. Hey, careful for the Kali. Only Kali can carry, okay?
I'm gonna go for Kali.
Kali's nothing. He has no flash, no ulti. No flash, no ulti. You got it. Nice.
Modelo's going to be kept alive into the back line. Lost looking to grab the damage onto the TL backside yet again, and they're able to find it. Echo Fox will ace Team Liquid.
That's so sick. That's exactly what I want, actually. This tool is like something I've wanted since I started playing professionally. But I think what's gonna happen is the really shit players in LCS are gonna get exposed for being really, really bad. Since you can watch perspective from start to finish, you get to see like all the things that they're doing wrong, and hopefully they'll get kicked and replaced with better players so the competition can be better.